Hello, fellow occupational therapists. My name is Molly. I'm going to be sharing evidence-based learning strategies to assist you in your professional and personal lives through the adventures of learning. Embracing these learning principles will help you surpass obstacles and empower your techniques in OT. Learning is an adventure since it occurs across the lifespan, never ceasing unless stopped by oneself. But using the principles I will be explaining, you can have the confidence to continue your own learning using the new strategies you have been taught. Learning objectives. The topics we will be covering today include how to establish metacognition, use retrieval practice, discuss how reflection of life experiences is a learning strategy, and how having a growth mindset can positively influence learning. How do you learn? Knowing how you practice retrieving information allows you to establish metacognition. Metacognition is the ability to monitor one's own thinking, what we know about what we know, and how we assess our performance. There are several learning strategies, including spaced retrieval, practice, interleaved practice, and reflection. We will be discussing retrieval practice and reflection a little more in depth. Retrieval practice. This is a strategy that enhances learning, allowing the brain to establish a path to retrieve learned information. Roediger and Karpicki stated that retrieval practice is also known as the testing effect. The word testing is stigmatized, but the idea should not be. It is simply sharing the knowledge we have learned. Continued retrieval practice reinforces learning. Some ideas for implementation for retrieval practice. Strategies taught in the OT session that can be recalled by the student in isolation and during functional tasks. For example, using a flashcard system to review important strategies for OT, and the student recalling what those strategies mean to them in their performance. The strategies that come easy are less practiced, and the ones that need reminders, support, continue to be practiced daily. On the flashcards, you may put pencil grip, letter start points, spacing, line orientation, paper slant, posture, body readiness tasks, and so on. These cards are ideas for the student to retrieve and demonstrate, but a great way for you to set up the beginning of your session with the student as reminders until they do these tasks automatically, becoming habit and meeting their goals. Effortful retrieval. Using time at the beginning of a session to have the students retrieve previous sessions' topics is valuable to learning. When a student takes the time to think for 3 minutes on the strategy you were teaching them, the session before, without material in front of them to remember, it reinforces the pathway in the brain for retrieval when the retrieval is more difficult. This is effortful retrieval. When the mind has to work, learning sticks better. This process can also be beneficial to metacognition. The student may realize what they do not know and how to go about strengthening that knowledge. This can allow you to better structure your treatment session for their success to be greater in the general education setting. Retrieval. Spaced retrieval may feel awkward in the beginning, but it will pay off in the end when the knowledge is established. Practicing typing on a daily basis for 10 minutes allows a child to establish knowledge of the keyboard. Each day they may feel like they are starting over, but once a month has passed, their knowledge of where the keys are to be typed for each finger to be efficient will grow. The pathways in the brain of that knowledge learned will be ingrained and easier to recall each time. This form of practice is spaced, such as spaced retrieval. Suggestions to implement strategies. Using retrieval practice in the classroom throughout instruction is important for long-term retention. For the student to be successful in carrying over the learned techniques from the therapy session, retrieval of the technique should be practiced in the classroom on a daily basis. For example, a simple trigger of thought from the teacher saying, "Remember what your OT asked you to do with writing? Pinch the end of your pencil and start your letters at the top." Another example in the OT session would be to ask the student to remember from last week what 2 techniques you practiced, giving them time to demonstrate it without prompting them. According to Brown, an author of the book Make It Stick, The Science of Successful Learning, being patient for the student to take on the responsibility of learning and carrying out the strategies themselves has better outcomes in the end for long-term retention. The initial attempts to remember may prove to be challenging, but this challenge is a desirable difficulty, ending in growth of learning. Reflection. Taking the time to reflect on the experience of an OT session is meaningful, allowing for self-feedback. Reflection is a learning strategy that can be helpful to improve your own effectiveness. For example, looking back in your mind's eye on how you prepared for a treatment session, carried it out, and had success allows you to continue successful learning for you as an OT and for the student. She may think of the tasks or strategies that she arranged to make it successful. This procedure of thinking is reflection. Your mental images of the session allow you to picture all the things you did well to enable learning and teaching. Deliberate practice in OT. Erickson states that through the use of reflection, experts analyze their performance to adjust towards success and carry out practice from that adjustment. This is deliberate practice. Professionals seek this strategy because it provides enjoyment and satisfaction. Using reflection in OT. During reflection, take time to visualize the strategy taught or where you struggled to teach. Your mental images of the session allow you to picture all the things you did well or lacked when enabling learning and teaching. In a situation where the opposite may have occurred, the OT session did not go well, the student melted down between swinging and the fine motor tasks at the table, the OT will use reflection in her thought process of making the session more successful, thinking that a list of pictures as a schedule may benefit to prepare the child for each expected task. Thomas Edison called failure the source of inspiration and is said to have remarked, "I've not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work." He argued that perseverance in the face of failure is the key to success. Growth mindset. When you believe you can, you will. Dweck has provided evidence-based research that the genes you are given from birth are not what establishes your IQ entirely. It's just a portion. You have many opportunities to impact your intelligence through life experiences, learning lessons, reflecting on what happened and how you will react the next time. A fixed mindset is best described as believing you are as smart as you are and that you cannot change it. A growth mindset is believing that if you work hard enough, the sky is the limit. Life experiences. When you teach with examples and make a connection, it provides a real-life situation to connect with learning. Using examples of students that have struggled with the same challenges you are teaching your student to work through can provide a connection for them to visualize and feel. For example, having previous students or older students that now demonstrate the skill you want, like proper grasp or writing, show the younger student how they learned or surpassed the challenge, can build a moment for the student to help them visualize for future practice. The student who assisted can become a reminder, triggering the memory and reestablishing practice of the skill. Experience equals learning. Through experiences, our mind captures the lessons learned to surpass our struggles. Life experiences provide learning opportunities and sometimes failures. It is those people that grow from those failures, learn the lesson, practice to improve, put forth effort, and become experts. Is this you? For example, challenges beyond our control occur, like a school district not having enough money to purchase the desired equipment for optimal student success. This challenge can stop you from providing the ideal support in order for your student to access the environment independently. However, if you think outside the box and look to outside resources or look to adapt to something that already exists, you may find success. You may also fail. It is these outcomes and experiences that also shape us as occupational therapists. Establishing strategies to move past our challenges, see success, and have the confidence to tackle future challenges. In summary, there are many pieces to the puzzle for learning that create success, including the strategies of retrieval of knowledge, reflection of how you practice, and being aware of what is known and not known, or metacognition. How our students learn. Designing the treatment sessions to strongly influence long-term retention of strategies and incorporating positive learning experiences with the evidence-based principles will enhance your therapeutic approach in occupational therapy. Here are the references to this presentation. I highly recommend reading the book, Make It Stick: The Science of Successful Learning. It really provided great evidence and examples that relate to learning across the lifespan. I am inspired by impacting my practice with these principles, and I hope you are too. Thank you.